In this many places not far away.
Down by the seashore.
Oh, hey there. Welcome back to Dynasty Happy Hour. I'm your host, Doug Eddy. I'm here with James and Tyler. Tyler looks displeased. How's it going, everybody?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Awesome. I'm going to bring up the energy levels. Ready? Deep breath. Oh, welcome into Dynasty Happy Hour. As always, we are brought to you by Fantasy Points. It is absolutely awesome. But before we talk about that, I don't want to get too far in front. I don't want to put the cart before the horse, as they say. I want to let you know about our YouTube channel. You can join us live on youtube.com, owned by Google, every Sunday night at 9 Eastern, 8 Central. So what we want you to do is drop a like and subscribe. Every YouTube video you've ever seen, it's drop a like and subscribe. It's no different here. So please check us out on YouTube, like, subscribe, use comments. We check them in the feed as we're podcasting. I don't because I'm hosting and it's more difficult for me. But Tyler and James check those comments and we address them as we go. It's awesome. As far as fantasy points go, right now you can use code 22DHH10 and get 10% off a fantasy point subscription. 90% of subscribers, last time I checked, that's a good percentage, made the playoffs in 2020 and 2021. It's the lowest price in the industry. There's an analytic powered draft tool, DFS optimizer. There's Greg Cosell's got all sorts of scouting stuff for the rookies, which we are going to talk about today. I'm super excited. It's going to be awesome. So again, let's bring in Tyler and James. James, what's new in Jersey, my friend?
It's still cold here, man.
Yeah, it's
Freezing
cold.
my nuggets off.
Paulie
Wicked
Walnuts
cold.
No. We don't say wicked cold down here.
That's my thing.
That's a New Hampshire thing or a New England thing.
A
or
wicked
a
is
Patriots thing.
Massachusetts thing.
Yeah, like we don't do that down here. in Jersey.
I was thinking about you guys. I had family over this weekend for birthday parties, and my sister was talking. She goes, "Oh gosh," and I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like I heard it.
Oh gosh.
Oh gosh, they're so good.
Oh, gee, golly, pass the potato hot dish.
Oof. Oof.
Was it those cookies that you like to get, Tyler? Was she talking about those cookies?
No, we had a mess of donuts. We have like 14.
Oh, big old mess of donuts.
We had 14 donuts still left, and yeah, we had a lot of people eating donuts, but
Mass
it was
Right
donut.
to the hips.
yeah. I need to, what do they call it? Change my diet for the spring. Because they say
It's called slim down season.
You're supposed to be getting fit now.
Yeah, I mean they say spring forward, but I'm just gonna literally roll forward,
Roll ahead.
roll ahead.
Roll the clocks ahead.
Yes,
I'm with you, man. I've been slacking on the gym. New job is definitely killing my personal time. So no gym.
Goddamn having to make money.
I know I got to carve out some personal time and get back into the gym, start eating better. And it's 2022. You know, we're getting ready for that combine. I want to get into combine shape, but it probably won't happen before the combine. That's for sure.
We should, next time we're all together, we should all run 40s and see what that looks like.
Oh, I will lose.
or drink 40s.
Drink 40s. I may win that.
We can do Edward 40 hands. That's always fun.
Last time I played that game, I had a friend break his and be like, "Oh, screw it!" I'm like, that's not good.
You can have the drinking combine of 2022. Is that something?
I used to participate in an Olympics event, which was centralized around drinking, and that was always a good time. Second place both years I played, so never could win. Never could win the chip, and I know.
Participate. It's better than participation trophies, right?
And participate trophies, yeah.
Yeah, necessarily.
Can't get me there. You can't get me.
You won't.
Can't trick me.
You'll never catch me. All right, Step Brothers reference. All right, so news. We do have a little bit of news. There's not a ton going on. This is the calm before the storm. James said it is combine week, so we're all looking forward to that. Free agency opens up in just really a couple of weeks. So there's going to be some heating up, if you will, from the free agency market, which is going to be a lot of fun to cover here on the podcast. Aaron Rodgers this week, you know, he broke up with his fiancée, Shailene Woodley, and did a cleanse of like hot mustard and sauerkraut or something. He's weird.
It was weird. Yeah.
So he ate like a Reuben and then
I don't
splints.
You should go look at it because it's insane. I forgot
Drank
what podcast.
some Thousand Island dressing.
What podcast they're talking
Big
about,
Mac
but
sauce?
like He literally would get diarrhea just to cleanse himself.
I mean, if it works for him, if it makes it, if maybe it'll make my eyes extra bulgy.
Tyler, we should do a 12-day cleanse, you and I, and see who loses more weight in 12 days.
12-day cleanse.
I'll participate.
Only Doritos.
No, because
and
you're in good shape already, Doug.
Only
I see
Doritos
the
and
biceps already in your arm. Yeah, you're wearing the
I'm-
cutoffs. It's only March. It's not even March yet, and you're wearing a sleeveless shirt.
This is what I went to the gym in today, and I
Put 'em
didn't
away,
change 'cause
boys. Put 'em
I was
away.
Lazy.
I,
It's a lazy Sunday over here.
I think our cleanse should be only Doritos and Mountain Dew.
You know they got that new hard
Deal.
Mountain Dew out in areas.
Tennessee.
Those spicy Doritos, they may help the cleansing process.
Just
One
a
way.
fire
or
in
How
the hole.
about just Taco Bell then?
Ooh.
Never had it.
I love
Shame.
me some Taco Bell.
So Aaron Rodgers cleansed. He said he's going to let the Packers know this week. There's rumors that he wants to be the highest paid quarterback ever. The Packers have been
about.
restructuring the crap out of all their deals. Aaron Jones, Bakhtiari, they've been restructuring a lot of big deals to clear cap room. So I think the Packers want to keep Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams intact just so they can get to the NFC Championship game again and lose. So facts.
It's only facts.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that Charles Woodson was more important to that Super Bowl team than Aaron Rodgers was. Is it just me?
I don't think you're
Possibly.
wrong.
Man, I don't think I'm wrong. So keep an eye on Aaron Rodgers. I think he's going to re-sign with re-up with Green Bay. I don't think he's going to Denver and all that other stuff. We're starting to hear some, Russell Wilson. Could he be gone? Is he going to Pittsburgh? It's rumor mill season, so don't believe everything you hear. That's all I'm saying. Same thing with free agency. As we get probably week to 10 days out, you're going to hear all sorts of chatter about teams are hot for one guy or the other. Calvin Ridley's going to get traded. This guy's going to get traded, and then nothing happens. We see it every year, so don't get too jazzed up until there's actually pen to paper and guys are inking deals the day before or just after the deadline.
Kelvin Ridley just came out with a book, and it's "Where in the World is Kelvin Ridley?" and
written by Riley Ridley.
You go through all.
I don't know where my brother is, man.
You go through all 32 teams in a book, and you got to find him wearing the striped shirt. It's a really cool book.
Like a referee.
But you know what? I'm going to give you guys a hint. He's not even in the book. Nobody's heard from him. He's not even in there.
He's on the back cover by the barcode. You have to really, really look for him.
Just giving you the finger.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of free agents last week with the conversations that we had about our buys last week. So check out that episode because that was some fire, guys. Just
that was
rehashing on that. It was great episode.
But listen to this one first and like and subscribe.
And like and subscribe on YouTube.
Listen to next week's too.
Yeah, get a jump on the 2022 season.
All the weeks. Hey, before we get into our main topic of the combine and a little draft action we're going to do tonight, I do want to talk about our longtime sponsor. Great guys, Matt and the guys at Trophy Smack are awesome. So they're sponsoring us yet again. Use code DHRING and get a free $60 value championship ring when you upgrade your trophy, and you get a belt, you get a trophy. There's all sorts of stuff on there, whether you play football, which is what we talk about, but there's fantasy hockey, there's basketball, maybe there's baseball this year. Who knows? Those divas are insufferable, and I hate them. Soccer, but you can even customize it for anything you want. So trophysmack.com, use code DHHRING at the checkout, and you will get that free $60 ring. And they also have stuff for losers because we can't all be winners, right? Like second place. If you want to buy yourself a second place trophy to commemorate the time you almost won, you can do that on Trophy Smack as well. All right. So we are getting into a single QB rookie mock this week. Tyler, we didn't talk about who's drafting what slots here.
James, you go first.
Oh, yay.
Yay.
Nobody really wants that 101.
Put me on the spot early, why don't you?
I mean,
Mhm.
I
Can
was
I just
talking to
pretend
James.
it's a super flex league?
I was talking to James a little bit, and I'm like,
will it make that much of a
this-
difference?
I'm just like, this is 2019 all over again. You have three running backs you don't know how to rank, how they had Jacobs, Montgomery, Miles Sanders. You have really good receiving prospects like A.J. Brown, then DK Metcalf, and so on. You just N'Keal Harry was in there. So that, I mean, if it's just like that, there's gonna be one. There's gonna be one. But it's not great. it's okay. And the more we get closer to the draft, the more I'm like, maybe I should go next year. Maybe I should just move forward a little bit.
Are you thinking trade down or trade out?
I'm thinking trade out or
Okay.
trade for a player. I mean, if a lot of these running backs remind us of David Montgomery, why not go trade for David Montgomery, who's got, who's proved it on the field and will probably get a second contract with the Bears. I don't know. It's an interesting class. I do really like the top, and in Superflex drafts, I do think there's going to be value, but we're not talking about Superflex. We're talking about single quarterback.
Nope. Cool. James, kick us off at the 101.
And single quarterback, we're not taking quarterbacks first. I'm going to kick it off here with, now usually I would go running back, but like Tyler said, there's only like 2 or 3. And I think there's a little bit of a cliff when it comes to wide receiver. And I want to strike hard, strike fast. And I'm going to hit Treylon Burks from Arkansas as the wide receiver 1. Size, speed, physicality. He's going to have an immediate impact in year 1. Can beat the defenders off of every type of route. He's a jump ball beast. I want to see him run in the combine. I'm not so sure about his breakaway speed yet, but
he's fast.
He's fast. That boy's fast. I really want to see when it comes down to the numbers and the second level. His focus is laser, and he's definitely someone I'm keeping an eye on in the combine. And my 101 here.
Excellent. Who's going next, Tyler?
You know what? I'm going to.
Okay.
I'm going to go next. I'm going to go with
This would have been easier to prep if we knew this information.
I'm going to go with my wide receiver 1 in Garrett Wilson. He's not the physical monster that Burks is, but he can jump through the roof. He's got hands, like solid.
He's got 2 hands.
He got 2 of them. He
knows how to use them.
Advantage.
He's got great hands. He can do everything. He's a great route runner. He knows the route tree. He can win after the catch. I think he is the one. Now, Treylon Burks, a lot of people are being like, oh, he's like AJ Brown, but bigger. And that's what I see. I see a lot of DK mixed with AJ Brown. So
yes.
It's insane. For Garrett Wilson, I see a lot of finesse, and I think he could be what we wish Judy could be. Like that, oh, this is the next route running.
I like how Judy has like injured, riddled year, and everyone's off of him.
But I mean, I'm not. But Garrett Wilson, in my opinion, is the do-it-all person. He's the separator. He's the guy that can get open in every area in the field, and that's what I want in today's NFL. He could be an Odell Beckham, Justin Jefferson type player, because that's how good he is and how he wins on the field. I mean, he had a crowded receiving room in Ohio State and still produced year after year. High recruit coming out of high school. I've loved Garrett Wilson since his freshman year, and it hasn't stopped. And it's been kind of the same thing with Swift. That's who he reminds me of. I've always felt like he's the one in this class.
Fair enough. I like your conviction, and some of the words that you said are bold, but I appreciate them. So that means I go next. So I'm gonna be
actually
the caboose.
James, you next.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the caboose in this
first round reversal.
Ooh.
We have a trade.
So at the 103, I am going to take. We talked about David Montgomery. He went to Iowa State, didn't he? If I remember correctly.
Yes.
Did he go there? Oh, fancy that, because I'm going to take Breece Hall, running back from Iowa State. So the reason I like Hall, to me, is the clear-cut RB1 in this class. 23 total touchdowns in 2021 and 2020. The thing that really popped for me this year is going from 23 receptions to 36 receptions. That's a big benchmark in college football. If you can carry the ball 253 times and then get 36 receptions, usually that is an indicator that you can do it all at the next level.
When you got Brock Purdy throwing you the ball, that's really good.
And it's not very Purdy, if you know what I'm saying.
It's not at all.
Yes, I mean, putting in almost 1,800 total yards this year and just really impressing on tape. There's no question in my mind that if Hall goes to a team, he will be their RB1. I think he could be the one running back in this class that Could be a round 1 pick. If there is one, it could be him. If not, he will definitely be picked in the 2nd round. And if he goes to a spot, there are some running back needy teams. And now I know there's a ton of running backs in the league, but there's a ton of wide receivers in the league too. We are in one of the deepest talent pools that we've ever seen in the NFL at skill positions, except for maybe, even quarterbacks decently deep. But running back, wide receiver, and tight end, it's crazy deep out there. But I think a guy like Breece Hall will have draft capital. He's got the college production. He can catch passes out of the backfield, and he scores a ton of touchdowns. It's what we want to see from a prospect coming out of college. So that's why I've got Hall as my RB1, and I'm happy to take him here at the 103.
So I was watching tape on Hall the other day, and instantly when he broke a run, I'm like, there's somebody that he reminds me of. His running style and how he runs. And I'm sitting here and I just couldn't nail it. And I kept going back to a name. Now, a lot aren't going to like it, but he smashed at the end of the season, and it's Rashad Penny. Now, the reason is because Penny, when he breaks away, he doesn't look like he should be fast, but he is. And
he's a bit of a thick boy.
And that Breece Hall is a thicker running back. He doesn't look like the ripped Barkley style or
he's only listed at 215, I think. 6'1", 215.
He's definitely a stockier type player.
Okay.
But yeah, when I was watching him play, I'm like, God, it's Rashad Penny. He breaks these runs, and once I think he's got a little more wiggle than Penny, but that's what it reminds me of. And hey, Penny smashed end of season. He was a early first round rookie pick for a reason. So it could work out.
So you're seeing a pinch of Penny, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Bingo.
And we know that whenever Penny enters a building, we get a dub in Fortnite. So
that's true.
I'm just trying to line everything up here.
Are we supposed to draft Penny?
Maybe. All right, James. Well, who you got at the 104?
The 104. I'm going to go back to wide receiver here. I want to take a running back, but I think the wide receivers definitely have more longevity. And this guy, I'm nicknaming him early. I'm calling him the Eiffel Tower, Mr. Drake London out of USC. Basketball background. He reminds me of...
His last name's London. I feel like there's an easier comp.
Isn't the Eiffel Tower, isn't that in Paris?
Yes. Could have called him Big.
How would you call him, like Big Bang Clock or something like Brandon
Big
Merriweather
Drake?
for the
I don't know. I kind of screwed that
Big
all
London.
up. I thought London, and I wasn't thinking wrong.
Paris
country.
Campbell. Maybe you were just thinking of a different wide receiver. It's fine.
Oh well, I got to find another tower. Anyway, Drake London, basketball
Tower
background,
Records,
and a new globe.
Yeah. Oh man.
Hey, you ever read a map?
Geography is not my strong point, apparently.
You ever seen that G.I. Joe movie? That wasn't in London.
Wide receivers are... This guy's a mix of Mike Evans or Mike Williams. Take your pick. He's got the NFL size, the speed. He plays at another level. Breaking tackles after the catch.
So not Mike Evans.
No. He's an all-out, go-for-it kind of player. Like, you throw the ball out there, it doesn't matter. Like when I say Mike Williams, he'll do whatever it takes to catch that ball, especially when it comes to jump balls. Mike Evans comp, he gets the separation away using his size and speed. It's going to be very, very hard to stop, especially down the field. I think Drake London is definitely a winner, and he played with Amon-Ra St. Brown a year prior and still had great stats. So Drake London. To me, I think 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns this past season with a not so good quarterback. I think Drake London's going to be just fine in the NFL, and I'm taking him here at the 104.
I like it. London. I'm starting to get scared a little bit by
I definitely have to come up with another nickname for him, man. I screwed that up. Sorry, Drake.
I think Arcega-Whiteside is tainted me forever.
T. Higgins definitely helped out in his, and that's I think Drake. He's not as stiff. He's not as stiff as Higgins for his size. Like Higgins isn't even that stiff, but Drake is very fluid, and he's able to bend like almost like Brandon Marshall used to, where you'd catch it and you're like, "There's no way! Oh my God, how do you break that?"
He could get small, is what you're saying.
Yeah. And that's who he kind of reminds me of. So if you take London
6'5" height, man, he's gonna be. It's jump ball city for him.
Yeah. and his ankle's gonna be just fine. No, I mean you can't go wrong with any of the 3 receivers really. So, yeah, I mean I'm next, and I got 2 running backs I got to decide from, and it's tough
I'm
because
glad I let you make the decision. I didn't
one
want
of
to do
them
it.
I absolutely love his running style, and I think that's what I'm gonna go with, and that is Kenneth Walker.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Damn it.
Y'all don't say that.
Kenneth Walker destroyed the Big Ten, and what Big Ten is known for is running and defense. And you know what? When you know the other team's gonna be running, you're gonna stack the boxes. You know what Kenneth Walker did? He ran through defenses. Like that guy runs he's so quick. He's agile through the hole. And people are saying, "Oh, he can't catch. He can't catch." You know what? When he was at Wake Forest, he could catch. He caught just fine. You know what he did in Wake Forest? This is thanks to Ray Garvin. I listened to his prospect talk and all that, and he was even like, and I saw the same thing at Wake Forest. He stood behind the line, like he didn't know what to do, and they pretty much were like, "Hey, be Le'Veon Bell type runner." You know, at Michigan State, it was a see hole, hit the hole, use your athleticism, and go. And that's what Kenneth Walker did. And you know what? He did very, very well. Kenneth Walker, I think, is going to be the first running back off the board in the NFL draft. And I think that will rise him above Spiller in rookie drafts. So this is probably where he'll go. I'm not sure on the pass catching, but you know what? If he is going to be like a Nick Chubb light type player, he's going to get a lot of rushes, a decent amount of touchdowns, and possibly get that pass catching. I'm okay with that. And he'll probably land around the RB2 range for his career, maybe low end RB1. And at this point, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
Fair enough.
Nice.
So I am up at the 106. And so this player he's an interesting one to me. I mean, there's a lot of players here that I like, but there's questions with a lot of them, right? We were only at the 106 and we've already got questions. So that's fun.
Not great, Bob.
Not great, Bob. So the only thing that makes me, it's the last name.
Which tight end are you taking? That's the real
I'm
question.
I'm not. One of my
boy.
favorite college players of all time to watch, and I was a big fan when he got drafted by Buffalo, was CJ Spiller.
Oh, yeah.
CJ Spiller at Clemson was amazing. So now we see his brother at Texas A&M. He's coming into the league. Now he's had 3 years.
It's not his brother.
It's not related.
It is. He is.
He's not related at all.
No, he is.
I fact checked it.
He's got the same last. I thought they
He's
were
got the
brothers.
same last name. Yeah. So
I could have sworn they were brothers.
so
Tyler's
is
looking at
Cameron
him right
Harris.
now.
I don't think he's
Not
related to
brother.
Damian Harris.
All right, I'll go delete myself then. I'll take the L on that one. Whoops. I thought they were brothers. Anywho, it's the last name still rings bells, and not positive ones for me, because I love CJ Spiller. I had him on a lot of my early dynasty teams, and he had that one elite year, and I drafted him in redraft in the first round in the top 10, and he literally shat on his pants the whole season. He had one good year being the most amazing college running back, or one of the most amazing college running backs I've ever seen.
relations.
All right. It sounds like Tyler's household. No relations.
Oh.
Yeah, I got to snap back. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, Isaiah Spiller, he's got a good college profile. Junior. He's got 2,000-yard seasons, close on another one, multiple touchdowns. The receiving game, I don't really have too many questions about. I just don't know that I think he's going to end up being a committee guy that could be the number one. Does that make sense?
Yes, 100%. Doug, I'll jump in here with you.
Sure, go ahead.
Because what I saw on film was that he does have the pass catching capability, and that's what he was mainly used for that separation, to be down there on third down. He kind of reminds me of like a Darrell Henderson type player or a Devin Singletary. They have the ability to catch the ball, but they don't have the ability to break away and really set up big playmaker type plays. And I don't think Isaiah Spiller, like Kenneth Walker was my number 2. So I think Tyler hit the nail on the head.
Kenneth Walker is Antoine Walker's brother, I think.
So, James, going to what you're saying, Ray also has a quote where it's something along the line of, you can be a back that can catch the ball, or he can be utilized as a weapon in the backfield. So there's the two differences. Like you can catch, or you are actually
or you can
utilized.
be Austin Eckler.
Yeah.
Maybe like a James White. I could see Isaiah Spiller getting into like a James White type role.
No way.
Just catching the ball. Just catching the ball. He's not breaking away.
James White's so good.
No. So Spiller is more
10
of
years
a
from now,
rusher.
he'll be James
Spiller is a very good runner. Like that's the thing. His feet are super quick. He's quick in the hole. He's decisive, and he's very smart with running lanes. If one isn't progressing right, he's very smart at seeing another lane opening up and hitting it before or right when it is. So I think his vision is very underrated, and he's super young. Like he is 20 and he will be just around 21 when the NFL game starts. So
those Javonte Williams vibes. He was very young last year.
I could see like Javonte was angry at running.
Yeah.
But Spiller is so smooth. He's different. I don't think there's really a comp I have for him right now. He's just
makes sense.
Yeah, he's gonna be a difference maker.
I agree. So now we're up to James at the 107.
And
Lucky
now,
number 7.
Now that everything's slowing down a little bit, like I'm gonna jump on Kyren Williams. Talk about a ball catcher and breakaway ability. I have him. I like him a little bit more than Spiller, believe it or not. He is 23 years old, which he'll probably be 24 in
so he's got 2 years left.
He's got 2 years left, but
RIP.
he does have consecutive 1,000 yards, 1,000 yard games. Definitely catches the ball out of the backfield, can turn it upfield, is a playmaker, creates separation. I think he could be one of those guys that are kind of like a sleeping action. Like what pick are we on? The 107?
Action.
Yeah, sleeping action. He's gonna fall. He's gonna fall in a lot
like
of
an action
dynasty
figure
drafts.
feature. Sleep now is sleeping action.
I think he's gonna fall a little bit more, or he could be the guy that actually picks up speed and draft capital in the combine. And this is one of the guys that I'm really going to be focusing on this upcoming weekend, because he does have the ability to be that full package. He can catch the ball and run through the tackles, has a great out route that he can run. I'm loving.
Missing the
Kyren.
biggest thing about him.
What's that?
His pass protection is insanely good.
Oh, well.
He is the best pass blocking back in the whole entire group. The only issue is he's going to be 195.
He's a little small,
200.
But I like the small guys. I'm a small guy myself.
But
I'm just a little tiny guy.
He himself reminds me of like a kind of
say it.
He like
you gonna say Dobbins?
He's not Eckler.
Dobbins?
No, Dobbins is stronger.
Okay.
But Kyren to me is, if he gets anything in the open field, he has a chance to take it. Like all you saw at Notre Dame was 78-yard rush, a 90-yard. Like he was explosive in Notre Dame, and yeah, he's definitely going to be somebody who gets utilized as a pass catching back. If you're talking about James White, this could be James White. Like that's the type of player Kyren could be, and he's going to be a steal in super flex leagues as well. He's going to
be one of those guys that drops into the second round.
He'll be 202, 201, and you are just going to smash it. But the struggle is going to be there in super flex.
He's not going to be the Keyshawn Vaughn and Trey Sermon of the last few years.
He could be the one where you take and you didn't take that quarterback, and you're like, I should have went with what I always should do and take that quarterback. But in non-super flex, he's going to be a great late first selection.
I like it.
Tyler.
Oh yeah, back to Tyler.
For me, this is pretty easy, and I'm gonna take George Pickens.
I heard he was the son of Carl Pickens. Is that correct?
I mean, you might be right. No, George Pickens, huge guy, big recruit. He had an ACL injury, which, hey, you know what? ACLs aren't what they used to be. I'm not too worried about Pickens. But you know what? At this Pickens, I'm very happy to take him. So for me, George Pickens, late first rounder, big, tall receiver. If you miss out on Drake London, I am going to be ecstatic to get Pickens later on. My sister made a comment, where's the Batman mask? So my son got a Batman mask from a card for his birthday, and she told me I should wear it. And
Yeah,
I
why
totally
not?
forgot. I mean, it's
Where's it at?
I'm not fighting crime right now. I can't do it. I'm just Bruce Wayne. So
Debatable.
For me,
Not handsome enough.
I'm not that rich.
That too.
For me, Pickens this late, he's going to be an earlier draft pick in the NFL than people think. He's going to be a second rounder. I think the ACL is just fine. He came back. He played in that championship game. He had a big catch and another kind of screen type catch, but he is explosive, and he's going to be somebody that is going to be slept on or forgotten about. And you know what? There's another player that we'll probably talk about in the second round that you just shouldn't forget about, these big time recruits and big time players, and then they had an injury happen. So it's kind of the forgotten guy.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, if he was healthy this season with how good that team played and Bennett played at quarterback, I would not be shocked to see Pickens actually in the top 5 in a single quarterback league.
Interesting. I like it. All right, that's to me with the 109 now. This pick's pretty easy for me on this one. I don't know who he's the brother of or sister of, for that matter.
Javante.
I like David Bell a lot. I think he's going to be the guy in this draft that isn't super sexy.
Le'Veon.
But yes. But
it was right there, man. You should have just said that one.
I thought it. I wanted you guys to chip in and contribute. So I like David Bell a lot. You know, the thing with Bell, he had four games of double-digit receptions, 93 receptions this year, 1,300 yards, 6 touchdowns. Now the touchdowns weren't great, but Purdue's offense wasn't anything to like write home about. But in the game against Iowa, when they were number 2 in the country, 11 receptions, 240 yards. I don't think David Bell is going to test crazy.
No.
But neither did guys like Keenan Allen. Like, I think he's just going to be a rock solid rookie pick that people will not go with because they'll be like, I like the upside of insert Alabama receiver or insert other Ohio State receiver here. And David Bell is just going to be like, all right, I'll catch 80 balls a year for 1,000 yards and 5 or 6 touchdowns. And we have to remember, that's okay in your rookie draft.
And he can progress. Like, he can get better.
Absolutely. Yeah. And especially if he lands in a really good spot with a talented quarterback, like, he's not going to be the sexiest pick, but at 109 in a rookie draft, if I can have a low-end, back-end wide receiver too with maybe some upside in his career, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that, because I know I've made some really dumb picks this part of the draft. Samaje Perine at 109, a handful of years ago. I was a big Perine guy. I missed out on Alvin Kamara on that draft. I'm still bitter about it. So David Bell is a guy that I like a lot, that I'll probably be able to get a little bit later, but I like him here just because he is absolutely rock solid. I think one of the safest bets at wide receiver in this draft.
Yeah. And if he goes to the combine this week and smashes, he's going to be a first round pick because his tape is very good, especially being at Purdue.
He's a really nice route
and being
runner.
With Rondale Moore. Like, people were like, "Oh, Rondale Moore's good," and there was a lot of people saying, "Hey, you like Rondale Moore? Wait till Bell comes out next year, and he could be the better wide receiver prospect that we should be talking about."
Mm-hmm. I agree. James, 110.
All right, so I may be jumping the gun a little bit, but I want to take the opportunity to talk about Malik Willis a little bit. From Liberty, transferred from Auburn his junior year, and then just set the world on fire, especially this past year. 40 touchdowns. I mean, I wish he was a little bit bigger. 215 at 6'1" is a little scary. I mean, but he's speedy. He's elusive. You see that RPO system working in his favor all the time, kind of like a Lamar Jackson type quarterback. He has a pretty big arm. The 12 interceptions in his last year of college is a little concerning, especially in his conference. But He's been called a team leader amongst his peers. I think Willis has the opportunity to really be a first-year starter, depending on landing spot, obviously. And he seems to be grabbing the bull by the horn, so to speak, and he may be the first quarterback off the board in the draft.
It's a metaphor, but it actually happened. Dodgeball. All right, for me, this is a slam dunk pick, and it's Jameson Williams. I mean, he's related to Jameson whiskey, so that's a plus.
Nice. He'll get you drunk.
Oh,
No,
man.
Jameson Williams, he had the ACL late in the year. He should be ready to go by. I wouldn't be shocked by week 4, the way we see ACLs now. Like, sooner or later, it's going to be like, oh, he's got a 3-week ACL injury. He'll be back. But no, for me, the ACL doesn't worry me as much. And he is fast. He is a difference maker fast. Not only that, he is a good route runner. He was a very high recruit going to Ohio State. Guess what happened? He realized that whole receiving room is insane. Like, hey, this is a good receiving room. There's some rumors he didn't really blend well with that offense. He transferred to Alabama and became the star. Everybody thought it was going to be Mechie. Everybody thought it was going to be some other young freshman coming in. No, it was Jameson Williams, a transfer, and he came in and was the dude. He was a difference maker. He was destroying before he got hurt. He was due for a big game. He was probably the first receiver taken out of this draft in the NFL. And if so, I think he could be that guy that slides into the top 6 of this draft. He is very talented. He is not Henry Ruggs. He's a better player than Ruggs. He's not.
He's very fast.
He's not slide in fast receiver comp. To me, he's Will Fuller, but healthy. Like, Will Fuller is a great
for the
receiver.
first year anyway.
Will Fuller is a great receiver. When he was healthy, he destroyed. Like, he was very good. And that's what Jameson Williams can be. He could be what we all wanted, what I wanted Will Fuller to be in his career. And if so, you've got a dynamic wide receiver 1 that could win you weeks. So, and that's what I'm looking for at the end of a first.
I like it. I'm going to wrap up our first round. So if this player declared last year, he would have been a first-round pick. And everyone was surprised when he went back to school because Ohio State was in the championship or the Final Four, and he showed out. And in 2020, he only had 50 receptions for 729 yards and 7 touchdowns. But it seems to me like Chris Olave's stock has actually gone down from 2020 to 2021. And in 2021, he almost doubled his touchdowns with 13. He had almost 1,000 yards on 65 receptions. So at the end of the first round, to get a guy like Chris Olave, who I think could still be a first-round talent in the NFL draft, I think he needs to work on a little bit of his physicality, and he needs to bulk up a little bit. I think he's a little slight. He can do it at Ohio State because there's a lot of talent around him. But I think if he wants to succeed at the NFL level, he needs to add a little bit of strength and a little bit of size. But I mean, he's buttery smooth. He can get open. He can create separation. You know, he's got strong hands on press corners. He needs a little bit stronger hands when it comes to catching. Like, I feel like if it's a contested catch situation, like, it's kind of a coin toss where I'd like to see his hands be a little stronger in those situations. But Chris Olave, to me,
my strong hand.
grab my strong hand. I think Chris Olave, it's just weird to me that in 2020, like, he was so buzzy, and in 2021, he had a better season and the buzz isn't as strong. It's just kind of weird to me. And maybe it's just because he was in the national spotlight with Trey Sermon, who got extra buzz because of how he performed. So for me, getting Olave at the end of the first round is a pretty easy choice here. What do you guys think?
I'm not complaining about that. If I get Chris Olave at the 112, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I'm actually off of him. I see a lot.
The stock moves down.
I see a lot of Devin Smith for everybody who knows that name. Ohio State fame.
He
Devin
flashed for
Smith.
the Jets once.
He flashed, but he was very.
He had weird injuries though, didn't he?
Yeah, very weird injuries. For me, he's just. I mean, when he caught the ball, I was like, okay, he's pretty good. Then you saw Wilson catch the ball, and you're like, yeah, that's a different type of player.
I mean, we're also talking about Wilson was our 102.
Yeah, and also Jackson Smith, Najiba,
Njoku?
No, the wide receiver, the actual like dominant wide receiver
Yeah.
one for this Ohio State team. That's next year, and he's better than Wilson and Olave maybe put together. Like he's that good.
Ooh.
He's going to be super good, and yeah, there's something about Olave that just throws me off, and I think he's going to be my one
Is
of
it because
my.
his name looks like Olavey?
I'm just not a fan of olives.
All lives matter. I don't know if you knew that.
Yes.
Olavey.
I could have made $1 million on that shirt, and
Yeah.
I missed opportunity.
You did.
Stupid.
You could have been Batman. Rich.
I blame CJ Spiller and his brother Isaiah.
Well,
Their families cursed me.
so
Doug,
we're gonna keep
I
talking
wanna-
about brothers because I got the next
I do
one.
want to give Doug a rebuttal. A friend of ours, Al, we were talking about D.D. Westbrook, and he's like, "Yeah, D.D. Is when he's coming in as a rookie," and we sit there, and he goes, "Yeah, D.D. Westbrook, the Russell Westbrook's brother," and I go, "Wait, what?" And
Brian
he goes,
Westbrook.
"Yeah,"
Brian Westbrook.
and I go, "No, it's not." And then I show him a picture of his actual brother, and he goes, "Yeah, that's not him." So you're not the only one to make those mistakes.
It's thousands of times in America a day it happens.
day.
I just googled it.
And for
very
10
common.
cents, you can stop that by calling this number.
Oh my gosh.
Cue the Sarah McLachlan.
Oh gosh, kill the Sarah McLachlan.
Actually, this would be a good time to we're taking a round break, and I want to talk about our friends at Dynasty Nerds. Now,
Nerds.
Dynasty Nerds, if you guys don't know about them, how do you guys know about us? I mean, that's pretty much the talk. Rich is a fantastic guy. We are at a party of his, but you know what? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about dynastynerds.com. You go there and you use code DHH for 15% off any of the subscriptions they have. You get a trade tool, extra Nerd Herd episode, prospect film room, which I love using. That's what I use to watch any prospect, even 2023 prospects. And of course, you get the Dynasty GM tool, which in my mind is one of the most addicting tools. It shows all your league mates lined up and how better their team is based off of player value. And then you sit there and you're like, oh, I'm 7th and Doug's 5th. No, not today. I'm making trades to get up to that 5. And you know what? It's kind of addicting. So go to dynastynerds.com, go sign up for that Nerd Herd, get that extra episode, and use code DHH for 15% off.
Love it. James, kick off round dose.
All right, you guys want more? Because I definitely do. DJ Moore's brother, Sky Moore.
Nice. Is he
no.
from Chicago? He plays for the WNBA, I believe. The Chicago Sky.
Maybe.
Is he part of Paw Patrol?
Gosh.
First
Oh,
name,
man.
relation. Could
Sky. Yeah, maybe.
Hey.
Put him in pink. See how he goes. Out of Western Michigan,
Did he fly a
5'10",
helicopter? That's the real
195.
question.
In October, he'll probably be wearing some pink, so it's all good.
Yeah, maybe. Or practice jersey, perhaps. No, I liked Sky Moore's film. He seems to be that stereotypical slot wide receiver, but he didn't play like a slot wide receiver. He was able to be used on out routes, post routes. He just seemed to be able to get the ball no matter how he got it. He was great. Great concentration when the ball was thrown to him. He's got solid hands, especially in traffic. Like if you threw the ball to him in traffic, that's where I was like, oh, wow. Okay. He held on to that. Similar to like a Jacoby Myers type situation where you just throw it to him and he caught it. Not too much separation otherwise. And that's why I have him listed right ahead of Chris Olave. He's my wide receiver 5. And to start off the second round, I don't have a problem taking Sky Moore here.
Nice. The sky's the limit.
Sky is the limit and more.
So
Tyler, who you got at the 202?
So there's a lot of receivers later on this draft. So I'm going to go with one of my favorite running backs, and that's James Cook. You know who is his brother? You know who is his brother?
Jared Cook. Right? It's Jared Cook, right?
God. I know you're joking because we both love Dalvin Cook.
Is it Case Cookus?
It's the Cook who was quarterback for Michigan State. Remember him?
Connor Cook.
Connor Cook.
Got it.
Oh man, too many cooks in the kitchen already.
Too many cooks.
No.
Classic viral video, by the way.
No, James Cook, phenomenal pass catcher. I actually in one of my campus to Canton leagues that I used to be a part of, and Pigs 3, which team I got rid of, but I have him in Pigs 2, Doug. Woo!
Nice.
I am all about James Cook. He's gonna be on the slender side. If you miss out on Kyron Williams, he's a perfect backup plan because that is the type of player he is. He's very quick. He's subtle. He runs like his brother. You watch him on tape. He's thinner, but he runs like that. Like he can find a hole about 1 foot and he's sliding through that thing and then taking off. Yes, he goes down usually off on first contact. He could get better at that with some training, but his pass catching is where it's at. The guy is a great pass catcher. He came out in high school as a third down back. That's what his whole entire thing was. It wasn't a running back. It was a pass catching back. And that's how he came out of high school. It's what he's known for. In my opinion, he should be used as like a slot receiver, running back style. New England would love this kid to be the next James White. He'd be perfect. James Cook, I know this is probably a little early for a lot of people, but I'm going to go get my guy. And I knew Doug was probably sniffing him out a little sooner as well.
Yeah, I smelled something coming out of the kitchen. Someone was cooking, and I was like, God damn it, Tyler beat me. The hungry man beat me to the kitchen. So what can I say?
We did talk about how I need to lose weight.
I know. I'm still upset at James Cook for decommitting from Florida State, by the way, but I'll get over it because that would have been awesome because they needed playmakers, and he probably would have had a better profile instead of being buried at Georgia, but whatever. I'm going to go here at the 203 just because the NFL is super trendy, and I see a player that I think can be used like now I'm not saying this as he's the same player, but if this player lands in a spot with a creative play caller, I think Wandale Robinson, it gives me a little bit. He can be utilized like a Deebo Samuel, I think. He's 5'11", 185. I think he's got the versatility. He's super shifty. Not Kadarius Toney shifty, which is on another level.
He's swifty.
He's getting swifty. But he could definitely be a gadget guy, and I think that he could make some noise. And this one's kind of a little bit of landing spot dependent. If he goes to a team that just doesn't have a creative play caller, then that team drafted wrong to begin with. But if he goes to someone, I'm trying to think, like, other than the Niners, obviously, there's lots of good offensive coordinators out there, and especially some new head coaches that are
Atlanta could use him. And I think Arthur Smith is kind of smart to the point where he should be able to use him. I mean, he used Cordell Patterson the right way. So
I mean, he's not fake smart like Cliff Kingsbury. So like whatever.
Yeah.
Stupid. Or even Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota. That could be fun. They say they're going to run less, so maybe they get a guy that they can be versatile. They see the success that Deebo had. But yeah, so I like Wandale here at the 203. I could definitely see him going later in the second if he goes to a team where you're just like, they're not going to use him right. Kind of like how Jacksonville used LaVisca last year.
Yeah.
Hopefully with Doug Peterson says, oh, we got this kid that can do a lot of the same things. And he's kind of built like a Deebo Samuel. He plays kind of angry like Deebo. And that's one thing I like about Wandale is that he has that like physicality and a little bit of a mean streak to him. And you notice it with players like Deebo. Like, man, he just plays like he's king shit, and like no one's gonna take him down. So this is a guy that I like, and like I said, I could totally see it being later in the second round as we actually get through the draft. But I think he'll test pretty well, and he'll start to get on people's radar a little bit more than he has. So, James, 204.
Oh man, do I have to? Oh no, I definitely will.
I mean, you have to, yes.
Yeah. Obligated. Anyway, I'm going to jump out of sorts here. I'm going to break the trend. I know it's not super flex, but this quarterback, and I know Tyler will probably disagree with me because there's a couple of players that he likes ahead of this guy. Coral. No, it's not Coral. I'm not on that bandwagon for Coral. I'm a little.
Hey, me neither. We're on the same page.
I'm a little nervous with the leg injury there. I am going to mention Desmond Ritter. All right. Yeah, you say Yeah, see, I knew always. Well, good. Maybe you can have
I
a
think
little feedback.
he's Desmond Howard's cousin, I believe.
I mean,
He's the Riddler's cousin.
you think about it. Everybody was like, "Oh, Lamar Jackson,
4th,
Cincinnati, blah 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 blah." I think the RPO is definitely in his wheelhouse. He's got a great long ball, and he's very, very hard to take down in the backfield. We always see the NFL constantly evolving to more
Alabama
of a run
would
first.
like your attention, sir. Alabama, the defense of Alabama, bringing them down looked quite easy for them.
Oh, well, every dog has their day.
I mean, Alabama's defense has the best player in college football, so
I love how I'm in the middle of my take, and then you just
I'm
come in
sorry.
and pounce on me, man.
I run.
Have
I
you
man.
met
do it.
Tyler?
I do a drive-by slap quick, and then I run.
You know what, though? Everybody's going to get tackled sometimes. It was Cincinnati versus Alabama, if that's how you want to talk about it, because the offensive line is not that good. But think of him on a better offensive line team. Maybe he does something. I don't say he goes in the first round. He's not going to go in this first round. You can see him as a second round kind of guy, day 2 kind of guy, perhaps. But he does have a lot of rushing upside. And if we learned anything out of rushing quarterbacks, they do hold fantasy value. So I'm looking to scoop him up in the second round and just stash him on my taxi slot. That's the way it's going to be. I think he does have breakout potential. And to get him in the second round, I'm all about it.
I'm all for standing for your guy. I like that.
Stand by your
Which is why
man.
I'm going Justin Ross with my next pick.
Oh, nice.
Remember him?
He was on my radar.
Yeah, remember him? Let me take
He's
you
John
back.
Ross's nephew.
Oh God, I hope not.
Oh, man.
Ew.
Sub 4.3, baby.
He's Jim Ross's nephew.
Oh my God.
and that's how he played. He was a dynamic player before his neck injury.
He's amazing.
You go back and his freshman year when him and Trevor Lawrence were at the top of their games, everybody was saying he's Julio Jones. He's the next guy. He's the guy that's going to come into the NFL and burn the world. And he got hurt. And he, it took him a while. It was a neck injury. It was kind of what Mike Williams had. And that's who I feel like he could have as a career. He's not going to be this crazy high prospect like we all thought and hoped he was going to be, which is sad because he was going to be so good. He had one-handed grabs in his freshman year. But you know what? He came back. He even the coaches were like, it's crazy that this kid is back playing football again. And his name's starting to grow some hype. And his name started to catch fire. I think he could be a third, maybe even a late second round pick, depending on how he tests at the combine and how his neck injury pans out, because the athleticism is there, the profile's there. All he needs to do is show he's healthy and he's back at 100%. And I think this guy can smash. Keenan Allen, third round pick when he was drafted. Let's not forget about that because he had injury history.
And the Patriots took Malcolm Mitchell instead. I'm not bitter.
and you know what? Injuries, people get too caught up on that. And if he's healthy, Mike Williams was the 7th overall pick in his draft. I think Ross is going to be just fine. Like I said, if that injury history is not a problem. But for me, I'm going to go on what I know he can be from his freshman year if he's at 100%. And that's a dynamic receiver. And in the second round, that's a chance I'm willing to take.
All right. I like it. All right. So I'm up at the 206, and I'm going to give a shout out to Dynasty Nerds. We plugged them earlier. As I'm looking at players in this area, I think there's another running back here that is, again, not super sexy, kind of like David Bell, but played for a really good college team that has a history of pumping out really good running.
Are you talking about
really
national
good
championship college team?
I'm not trying to give it away. He runs with power. He is upright AF, okay? But we know that can work at the next level. He does seek out contact, so I'm a little concerned that he's going to need to change a little bit. But I like the way that he runs. Over 200 yards against Cincinnati. Led the team in rushing, 1,400 yards. Had 20-plus receptions out of the backfield. Why aren't more people on Brian Robinson Jr.?
Damn it.
Out of Alabama? Because to me, I look at the profile, 6'1", 228. And I'm reading the profile. I read the profile on Dynasty Nerds from Matthew Mitchell. So shout out to you for your profile on Brian Robinson, which includes some highlights, some tape. He talks about his feet. He's got active feet. He's pushing the pile forward. There's a lot to like about Brian Robinson. Again, he doesn't have home run speed, so that he's not sexy, but put him in an offense where he's the first 2 down guy, and then maybe that you have a great 3rd down running back. So think if Brian Robinson, who's a team that could benefit from him. I don't know, like the Los Angeles Chargers, who Matt in his article said, pair him with Austin Eckler. That could be a great fit.
Yeah.
Or he's in a committee and the 3rd down back gets hurt. He has the ability to carry the ball 20 plus times and do that job. And let's be honest, at running back, that's part of the equation nowadays. Is injuries happen. We see it every single year of guys go down, guys come out of nowhere and contribute for you. And I think Robinson could have some decent draft capital because he is an Alabama product. We looked at guys like
Bowl.
Yeah, we looked at guys like Damian Harris, who was an Alabama, led the team in rushing at Alabama, and obviously didn't have an opportunity in his first year or two, but then this year has 14 touchdowns and is a solid RB2 in fantasy football. So I think Brian Robinson has a little bit more ceiling than even Damian Harris. So getting him in the mid to back half of the 2nd round to me is a bit of a head scratcher because I really like this kid. James, you seem to like him because you're on the same wavelength here.
Yeah, I was gonna take him actually. It's right there. It's the school. It's the pedigree of player that comes with that school.
Big high school recruit.
Little concerning that he had to wait his turn all the way through. Didn't really get a big boost until his last year.
He's behind Najee. I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah, hey, exactly. But if he's better, who knows? And which leads me to bring out someone that was on my list last year that went back to school was Tyler Algiere from BYU. Now,
my brother.
Tyler's brother.
I believe he's from Algiers, actually.
Yeah. 5'11", 220, consecutive over 1,000 yards. I think it was like 1,100 his 1 year, and then 1,600 his final year in college. He's a bulldozer. The guy gets the job done. Give it to him on the goal line. Boom, he's going to knock you over. He's a patient runner. He knows how to hit his holes, and he can pass catch. I want to see what he could do on the blocking scheme a little bit more, because, BYU, just boop, or grab it and run. But yeah, later in the 2nd round, I don't have a problem taking a shot on Tyler Algiere. I think he definitely gets picked up in the draft, probably a third round kind of running back.
All right, I'm going to go next, and I'm going to stick with the running back position, and I'm going to go Rashad White out of Arizona State, former linebacker, so he kind of knows the ins and out of running between the tackles, but what he's known for is his pass catching. He's smooth out of the backfield, and in my opinion, a lot of people like David Johnson. That's who he kind of reminds me of, like the same size. He's around 6'1", 6'2", the 215, 220. He's a bigger guy. For me, I think he could be a sleeper, especially if he's going to end up here. I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to go way earlier than a lot of people think. And if he's an early 2nd, late 1st, I'm not going to touch him. But if he's around this area in drafts, that's about the sweet spot, kind of where David Johnson went. I mean, David Johnson was a late 2nd, early 3rd, shot in the dark. I mean, we're talking about somebody who is around the same age David Johnson was, around the same size, 210. David Johnson was probably a little bigger, probably a little more athletic, but he's the same type of pass catcher. In my opinion, in today's NFL, he's a good running back for a lot of teams who needs a pass catcher, and you could grow into more. In this area, I'm okay with it, but DLF has him at 13 overall in non-superflex, so that's probably a little too high for me, but the slide needed to end. I'd rather have James Cook in front of him because I think he's more dynamic, which is probably a hot take in the community, but for me, this is a perfect spot for White.
I like it. All right, I'm coming up at what are we up to 209 now, and I'm going to give you the first lunch pail guy. This is the classic Tyler, right? It's the guy that's going to come.
Bobby Woodhead.
Danny Woodhead. He's going to join a team and work his ass off. Kind of like we've seen in the past, a guy like Julian Edelman, Hunter Renfrow, guys that just come in, they get it, they work hard, and they become successful because of their work ethic and their great teammates. I think it's Christian Watson out of North Dakota State. You look at the competition now. I know that North Dakota State is, they win the championship every year. We saw Carson Wentz and Trey Lance come from there, but not really much else in terms of NFL prospects, right? But I think Christian Watson could change that. He's 6'5". He's really tall, 205. So he's a little slender. I'd like to see him bulk up a little bit. But it reminds me of a player, if he gets drafted in the 3rd or 4th round, that could have some upside that you draft and ends up being a really good player in the league. And at the end of the 2nd round, especially at the 209, I think this seems to be a theme with me. He's super solid, but I think there is some ceiling there too, because the way that he can run routes and the way that he produced in college. So Christian Watson to me is a very intriguing player, and I like him this late in the draft. He's an All-American first team. He went to the Senior Bowl. He looked pretty good there.
He killed at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, he looked really good there. It's one of those things with him. I mean, if you look at some of his games, he only had 200-yard games, 7 touchdowns. So it's not like he blew people away. I just think that there's something about him as a player that he's going to be one of those guys that'll work his ass off, like we talked about. Even like a Keenan Allen, who just works on running routes and works on his hands, and he's solid. And I'll take that out of a guy like Christian Watson here at the 209. I think he's a fun wild card.
Very nice. Nicely done. This is my last pick, huh? And I'm stuck, man. I don't really want to have a late 2nd rounder in 2022. It doesn't look great unless it's super flex.
Sure.
And I'm going to spoil the pie here and take another quarterback because I'm out of options. Really,
I love this. Now, the strategy for this, I'm sorry to cut you off again. The strategy is if you hit on the quarterback here and he ends up a top 10, your value doubles or triples. Like you hit on value. Quarterback is an important position no matter what. And if you've got a star at quarterback and you got him in the late 2nd, like a Herbert back in the day, I got him at 301 in a single quarterback.
I tried to trade back up in a single quarterback league to get Herbert, and I couldn't.
Yeah, I got him at 301, and you know what? Everybody wants him, and I could get a bunch for him. So yeah, James is in the right area here.
So we have Malik Willis off the board. We have Desmond Ritter off the board, correct? Is that the only 2?
That is correct.
All yours.
All right, well, throw the guy in from North Carolina, Sam Howell. Tyler, you and I talked about him a little bit pre-show, and there's a wide parameter of possibilities for Howell, but I think he does get his shot. 6'1", 220. He can run and pass, but most importantly, he looks to pass first. He keeps his head downfield, and only 9 interceptions with 35 total touchdowns. He could be the full package. He definitely could wind up going late 1st round. There are some teams out there that need a quarterback, and he has definitely been proven. I know we had a little bit of a slump with losing a lot of those playmakers in North Carolina from the 2020 season, but I think he makes up for it in the NFL. Definitely good draft pedigree, and I'll take a shot at Sam Howell, especially with the parameters that we talked about. Tyler, what was that? It was the floor of Baker Mayfield and the ceiling of Russell Wilson.
Now,
so wide range of possibilities, like we said. But I mean, even if he lands somewhere in the middle, I'm okay with that. Maybe like a Kirk Cousins or a Ryan Tannehill. I'm okay with that. I think he has that option. I think maybe Ryan Tannehill is actually a better comp altogether. I mean, he can run the ball when he needs to. He could definitely throw the ball and is accurate. Long ball looks good. Is very decisive with his passes, and he protects the football, and that's what's going to get him on the NFL field. So, yeah, I have some faith that Sam Howell in the back half of the 2nd round.
All right, Tyler, you're at the 211.
Oh, I love that, and I want to go into depth about how much I really like Howell, but I will save it for our...
I think I know who you're picking.
Save it post-combine. Save it for post-combine.
Yes. Yeah. Now, I've got 2 options here. I'm struggling big time to decide who I want. I love both players, but you know what? what value I'm going to get for a player if he hits, I'm going to go the running back. I mean, we all know running backs, if they hit, I'm going to go Zamir White out of Georgia.
Nice.
I'm going to pair him with James Cook again. Why not?
Hey.
Zamir White was one of the highest rated running back prospects coming out in 24/7. He was a hot name. People were like, this is the next guy. He could be what Leonard Fournette needed to be. He's around the same size, 6'1", 220. He's a big dude. Man, double ACLs, if I remember the injury history. I know one for sure, but I know there's an ACL or an ankle. Major injury flags. Possible.
The Georgia running back thing, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, but Nick Chubb came out and he hasn't really had too many issues. But for me, Zamir White, for a running back, if he hits and gets, first and second down type play, his value is going to skyrocket and it's going to be a first round pick. So for me, I'm going to go with the running back and the Georgia running back that has the recruiting stars, the athleticism. Hopefully it's still there after injuries, but he showed up pretty well this season. And they depended on him. He wasn't as explosive as we wished, but he still got it, I think, in his back pocket.
All right. Well, I'm going to wrap us up, and it's going to be a very fitting player here because we all know I'm the tight end guy.
Yeah, I was waiting for. I left him there for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. This is a really nice, like, low-key tight end class. I don't think it's going to be like 2017 or anything like that. But so Trey McBride, 90 receptions, 1,100 yards, only a single touchdown.
Danny McBride's brother.
Yeah, I love Pineapple Express. So good. Such a good movie. I haven't watched the what is the HBO one, The Righteous Brothers.
Eastbound and
Righteous
no, I've watched
Gemstones?
Eastbound, Righteous Gemstones.
It's funny. It's definitely funny. I recommend it. Good knee slapper.
In 2020, only 22 receptions, but 4 touchdowns. 2019, 4 touchdowns on 45 receptions. 2021, 1 touchdown. I think a lot more people would be talking about Trey McBride if it was like, oh, he only scored 1 touchdown, but 90 receptions and 1,100 yards as a college tight end is pretty nice. He's the John Mackey Award winner. Reminds me a bit of a young Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry now is very different from the first couple of years of Hunter Henry when he was more athletic. And I see some of that in Trey McBride. I think he's somewhere between a Hunter Henry and an Austin Hooper, if that makes sense.
Fair enough.
So
bad second contract.
The second name you just said, I threw up in my mouth a little bit.
but we remember that Austin Hooper was a tight end 1 in fantasy for a little bit, and then he got paid. And he's slowed down too, and he was never really super athletic, but he's a solid player.
It also makes sense, Doug, the way you said it. Austin Hooper was hyper targeted in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
You could say that. Trey McBride was hyper targeted in Colorado State. And if it does translate to the NFL, where he is the primary pass catching tight end, he's going to be very fantasy relevant and a good way to end the second round, I believe. Because
I would love to see him in like Tennessee, because I thought Fursker was going to be.
Definitely need a tight end.
I thought Fursker was going to be a guy, and I don't know what happened there. But they targeted Jeff Swaim and Michael Pruitt, I think. I don't even know anymore. But I would love to see him, land in a space, even like Jacksonville,
Indianapolis.
Kylan Granson, but Dan Arnold is not like a spring chicken. But if Trey McBride landed in a bunch of those spots, at the end of the second round, I think he's the clear-cut tight end 1 in this class, to me anyway. So taking him at the end of the second round, I'm perfectly good with. And in tight end premium leagues, I don't think you're going to have to really move much further up to get him either, because tight end premium and superflex leagues are usually married together. So I think you'll be able to get him end of second, early third round in those leagues too. So I like that a lot this year for Trey McBride.
Yeah, I put him anywhere between the 208 and the 212 usually.
Yeah. Now, can I give the name I was debating on?
Yeah, sure.
John Mechie.
I thought about him too.
He was a name.
Interesting.
I have him in picks too. He's going to be a great wide receiver 2 for a team.
Or is he going to be a slot guy? You think slot guy?
I think he could play on the outside, but for me, he had a late ACL injury, a later one. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. Like I said, he's still super young. He is savvy, and honestly, I think he could be a Gabe Davis type player. He's faster than people think. He's savvy. He's going to be a later pick, maybe late day 2, early day 3. And I think people are going to sleep on him. So a 3rd-round pick for Mechie is exactly what I want. Because if he was healthy the whole season, he was giving Jameson Williams a run for his money.
Yeah, I think he'd be more mid to high second.
Yeah.
I got one honorable mention if you want to just come in here. I think it's going to be a sleeper. And Tyler, I mentioned this guy to you, and you were like, who? And I'm like, yeah, Dontario Drummond from Ole Miss. Now,
Andre Drummond's brother.
Andre Drummond's brother.
Good boxing out type receiver.
Yeah.
It's Will Drummond's brother. I mean, I watched some film on Matt Corral from Ole Miss, and I'm like, who is this guy catching the ball? And it's Dontario Drummond. Now, if he falls, and he most likely will fall into the 3rd round, probably mid 3rd, maybe even the early 4th round of your fantasy, your dynasty drafts, your rookie drafts. I like him as a dart throw. The guy has some skills. He has the physique, and he's going to be my sleeper here this year. I'm going to watch more film on him, but I'm on him. I'm on that drum. I'm banging the drumming.
Dante Moncrief. Somebody posted on Twitter, what was your worst fantasy take? And I said it was planting my flag on Moncrief and hanging on to the flag for dear life.
Tyler,
mine was JJ Arcega-Whiteside.
Oh, so the 3 of us are spooning on the Moncrief Arcega-Whiteside hill that we just died on.
And it is this volcanic molten.
Drummond is not like
Pompeii.
Arcega-Whiteside. He's got a little bit more meat on the bones. All right.
Either that or we're just Icarus and we're just flying directly into the sun.
So the volcano happened and I was about to hit the draft button on Arcega-Whiteside in all my leagues, and then I was just turned to ash. It was bad. I've got a name for you. My sleeper is Sincere McCormick, just because he has a cool name. That's all.
Yeah. Right. Season it up.
Sincerely McCormick.
My name's Sincere
McCormick.
Yeah, great seasonings.
Books. Yeah.
Great
that
seasonings.
Montreal steak is...
All right. Yeah. That's going to wrap us up this week. Tyler, don't interrupt me, please. And thank you in advance. So that's going to wrap us up. I want to thank our sponsors, Fantasy Points. I want to thank Trophy Smack. I want to thank Dynasty Nerds. Remember to use code DHH with Dynasty Nerds if you can. We also have some great swag if you're looking for hats, sweatshirts, T-shirts, all very comfortable, all fit you really, really nicely, even fit better when we do this cleanse, right, boys? Go on Viridian Global. Check those out. We've got lots of awesome things going on at the Dynasty Happy Hour. So thank you for listening. If you listen to us through Apple iTunes, make sure you leave a review and a rating for us. It'll help us elevate us when people search Dynasty or Fantasy Football. So that would be much appreciated. And again, thanks for tuning in and joining us. We will be back next week. Be back. It's Combine Week on the Dynasty Happy Hour. So it's going to be a fun one. We'll see you next week.